Welcome back. We're coming to the big story, and the story we've been tracking all through this afternoon and early evening. The major coup that India has scored against Pakistan, the legal and diplomatic coup in the Kulbhushan Jadhav case, with the International Court of Justice ruling that Pakistan must not execute the Indian national till the court delivers its final verdict in the Jadhav case, giving its interim order after just 3 days of deliberations. The court saying Pakistan must take all measures to ensure Jadhav is not executed before it has finally heard the case, and that India has the right to consular access to Jadhav. Listen in to what Judge Ronnie Abraham had to say.
Under the present circumstances, it is appropriate for the court to order that Pakistan shall take all measures at its disposal to ensure that Mr. Jadhav is not executed pending the final decision in these proceedings, and shall inform the court of all the measures taken in implementation of the present order. The court reaffirms that its orders on provisional measures under Article 41 of the statute have binding effect and thus create international legal obligations for any party to whom the provisional measures are addressed. When the jurisdiction of the court is founded on particular treaties and conventions in force pursuant to Article 36, paragraph 1 of its statute, it becomes irrelevant to consider the objections to other possible bases of jurisdiction. Any reservations contained in the declarations made by the parties under Article 36, paragraph 2 of the statute cannot impede the court's jurisdiction specially provided for in the optional protocol. Thus, the court need not examine these reservations further.
Justice Ronnie Abraham, the man of the moment, someone who's come from the French judicial system. Gaurav Sawant still with us. Gaurav, give us a sense of the nature of this bench which heard the case. Lots of attention on Justice Ronnie Abraham. What do we know of Justice Abraham?
Rajdeep, in all, 11 judges on this bench. Justice Ronnie Abraham, as you said, from the French judiciary. We had one from India, Justice Dalbir Bhandari. We had one from Africa, one from different, from different other countries. 11 each from different country, each accomplished judges. The International Court of Justice, in its verdict, what was extremely significant, Rajdeep, was the fact that the court found urgency in India's plea that Pakistan had given no assurance that Kuldeep Jadhav would not be executed. So that was extremely significant. What was also very significant was the fact that while Pakistan claimed that ICJ had no jurisdiction because of the 2008 agreement, bilateral agreement between India and Pakistan, the ICJ was of the opinion that
Let's listen into what the Pakistanis meanwhile are saying, Gaurav. This is their press conference at The Hague.
From humanitarian angle. Now, India is trying to defend a person whose actions have led to the killing of scores of innocent Pakistanis.
Pakistanis maintaining their stand that Kulbhushan Jadhav is a terrorist who has killed scores of innocent Pakistanis. Aman Sinha of the BJP also joining me at this moment. Aman Sinha, the BJP and the government has every reason to be praised and supported for what they have done. But the fear is that a stay order may well be seen by some as a final victory. Will the celebrations only begin once Mr. Jadhav is freed, or the fact that he could now get consular access and the sentence being stayed is reason enough for the BJP to claim a major diplomatic victory?
Rajdeep, it's a victory for all Indians, for all its citizens. The government cares for them, whether they are in India or abroad. And it's a victory for Team India, led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, undoubtedly MEA, Minister for External Affairs, and our legal team led by Harish Salve ji needs to be complimented for the remarkable work. Now let me say, Rajdeep, that the judgment is It's an extremely comprehensive and a well-written judgment, Rajdeep. I have been to ICJ in earlier proceedings also, and let me say that they have dealt with each and every aspect comprehensively, and each and every question or objection which was raised by Pakistan has been responded to and summarily rejected by ICJ. And this is a unanimous decision of the International Court of Justice, and they have gone on to say that there will be stay on execution till the final disposal or outcome of the matter, Rajdeep. And you know how long this matter is likely to take before the International Court of Justice. Now let me say also at the same time that Pakistan has also been directed to report back to ICJ that what measures they have taken in order to implement the directions of the International Court of Justice. So that is also very important, Rajdeep, because there all the questions of consular access, etc., which was denied. Perhaps they will have to come through and give consular access now, and they will have to report back to ICJ. And ICJ has also gone on to clarify, Rajdeep, that this is going to be binding and it has full force of United Nations. The Security Council of United Nations is fully empowered and authorized to take any action if there is any breach or disobedience of a judgment or an order of the International Court of Justice. So therefore this is a monumental victory, Rajdeep, and I think our media organizations and you know, everybody, all Indian needs to be complimented, including the media, which played an active role in this, and Prime Minister's vision and initiative to move swiftly to International Court of Justice has paid rich dividends, Rajdeep.
It has paid rich dividends, but look at Pakistan's reaction, KC, and they seem to be suggesting we will not accept the jurisdiction of the ICJ. I'm pushing you on this because I believe somewhere that can Pakistan invoke any clause today to say that they will not accept the jurisdiction of the ICJ? We will proceed with the legal process as exists in Pakistan because this is an issue of national security. Mr. Jadhav can appeal to our Supreme Court, he can appeal for clemency, but we will not stop or interrupt the process because of the ICJ.
Look, the court itself, what they have said is that whether the 2008 bilateral consular agreement modifies or supplements the commitments under the convention does not need to be decided at this stage. So it is possible they'll go into it later. Whether that is modifying or not. But they are saying does not need to be decided at this stage. But the other, I think, important thing is they are saying that this espionage
Which issue does not deserve to be decided
whether
at this stage?
the bilateral consular agreement of 2008 overrides.
That's exactly it. They have not gone into that at the moment.
They haven't. They said prima facie, we are not going into it. It does not need to be decided. There is a dispute. Obviously, there is a dispute on the interpretation of the convention. India has been denied the thing.
Yes.
They are not giving us access. So let's not take it as final victory on these points. We'll have to argue it out. But one important thing is that where they are making no distinction when a charge is of espionage or terrorism, that the person is then denied the rights.
Right.
But I think that's where 2008 convention will come in, because this is an issue which will have global implications.
And do we know, and I think Gaurav, if you are still with us, do we know when will the next hearing take place? Presumably we are being told by some sources in August. So that gives us about 3 months, a window of 3 months to work the diplomatic channels, to keep the pressure on Pakistan, to ensure that Mr. Jadhav, in a sense, is given consular access and we are able to find that window. General Sehgal, are you?
Sorry, if you ask me,
yes.
I don't think they will give any access. They'll say now it's before the court.
They will not give access.
No, they'll say
you said earlier they would give access.
No. I said they will have to eventually give it.
But they will not till August.
They'll say the court has not ordered it.
That's exactly what I'm saying. That's the point I made to you, KC, that they have not mandatorily said. They have not said mandatory access.
No, they have not said at this stage, because that's the whole dispute.
So the provisional measure given is suspension of sentence of execution.
Correct.
That's the provision.
And
yes.
also hearing, also substantive
that's right.
hearing.
Yes.
So now this is subject to interpretation. That is the first excuse Pakistan is going to come with.
Yes.
The second would be saying that there is no order of the ICJ to give consular access, and that is a fight that would take place on some other day. Right. Or thirdly, it could be subject to the interpretation of the Mexican judgment that said that inherently that the state has the right to access its citizen, or the citizen has the right to access its state. So it now depends on where and what would be decided either by the court or by the Pakistan authorities.
Yes.
As per my perception, if Pakistan does not give the consular access even now, Pakistan will stand badly exposed. The Indian case was that human rights of Kulbhushan Jadhav have been totally violated.
Yes.
And despite 16 requests, he's not been given consular access, nor has he been given appropriate
Is the
facilities.
Pakistan army mindful of what the international community has to say about that?
Rajdeep, there is no such order on access.
That's the point.
That is the substantive issue to be
No,
decided.
so therefore I'm wondering, in the last 1 hour, while we have been celebrating the fact and we have reason to be positive about the stay on the execution, the
That's
fact
number
that,
one. And
yes,
number two, that the case has, even here, you know, when you go to Supreme Court,
yes,
half the battle is getting your case admitted. You see, you don't want your case thrown out.
It's 90% of the battle.
Yeah, once it is admitted, that means now the issues can be
so
discussed.
that a due process is carried on, and during that due process, but Aman Sinha, that's why I want to come to you, because the tendency will be to believe that this is a victory. Next month, there is a possibility of Prime Minister Modi meeting Prime Minister Sharif in a possible multilateral forum meeting in June. Do you see any possibility of the two leaders talking about Kulbhushan Jadhav? Is this an opportunity, a window that has been provided to use the civilian leadership there to put pressure in some way on the military and the army courts to try and ensure that the army allows Kulbhushan Jadhav the full impact of the due process of law? Will the two leaders meet? Is my basic question.
Rajdeep, I do not think it will be. Rajdeep, I do not think it will be desirable to speculate, but our considered stand is that, you know, talks and terror cannot go together, and let us see how things play out. But let me clarify, as far as the issue of consular access is concerned, because it was being discussed in the studios some time back, that the ICJ has clearly said that consular access ought to have been given. If I heard the order correctly, this is what they said. Not only that, Rajdeep.
No, they have not said that.
In its operative part,
I must clarify to you and our audiences
that Pakistan.
They have said that there are rights. There are rights that Mr. Jadhav has under the Vienna Convention, but they have said this is not the stage at which we will go into it. That's what they seem to suggest.
No.
Clear hint that
Let me clarify. First of all, ICJ has issued a categorical blanket direction that Pakistan has to take all and every possible measure to ensure that you know, his execution is stayed, and all possible measures would also mean consular access. Not only that, I feel that ICJ had also said at some point in time that they ought to have been given consular access under the Vienna Convention, and therefore they were compelled to provide these provisional measures. So that is what my reading is, but let the full transcript of the order come out. If you have read the full transcript, that is fine. But going by what I could hear, I felt that at some point in time they did say that the consular access ought to have been given, which was denied. But not only that, apart from that, they have given a very broad, wide direction that Pakistan has to take all possible measures to you know, ensure that he is protected. So that would also include consular access.
Given that, the steps ahead, do you see, Kapil Sangha, a long road ahead in this battle? This is going to stretch on. Normally, ICJ doesn't stretch on as much as our courts do. True. But within the next year, can we expect a firm by next year this time, or even earlier, a firm order?
It's quicker normally, much quicker.
So about 6 to 9 months.
It's much quicker, but the time that we've got is good for us, because the way Pakistan army and Pakistan government was moving with that undue haste, it is actually good for us that this comma has been put by ICJ in the functioning and the actions of the Pakistan government.
You know, that's the hope, of course, that we now have, that in some way, some kind of pressure has been now built on Pakistan. I just want to also listen into what the Attorney General of India, Mukul Rohatgi, had said. Remember, Mr. Rohatgi also was seeing this as a major victory, but on that key issue of consular access, there remains some ambiguity. Listen in to what the Attorney General had to say.
As far as the judgment is concerned, it is certainly binding on both the states, because the final decision will decide the ultimate question of jurisdiction. So there is no question of saying that it is not binding on one or the other. I hope consular access should be given, because non-grant of consular access according to the Vienna Convention is one of the main points in this case, apart from the fact that there was no real trial. So I hope Pakistan sees sense, comes back on track. The Indian government strand was really based on truth and justice and respect for human rights. All these things have been seen in the correct perspective by the International Court, and I think it's a pat on the back for India and its team.
Hope Pakistan gives consular access. Pakistan ought to give consular access. Listen to what the Pakistan Foreign Office spokesperson has just said.
Pakistan has entered a revised declaration under Article 36(2) of the Statute of ICJ on 29th March 2017. This is a much stronger declaration than the earlier one, which was entered in 1960. Now, this declaration Pakistan submitted after exhaustive discussions among, after inter-agency consultations within the government. Many clauses have been added to the earlier declaration, including excluding all matters related to the national security of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, which in the current case totally excludes the jurisdiction of ICJ under Article 36(2) in our view, after India stood exposed in state-sponsored terrorism, terror financing, spying and subversive activities. It has desperately tried to divert the world attention by presenting Kulbhushan's case from humanitarian angle. India is trying to defend a person whose actions have led to the killing of scores of innocent Pakistanis.
Okay, so that's the Pakistani viewpoint. Pakistan not bending down from its stand that Jadhav they believe is a terrorist. What will be the big headline and the big takeaway tomorrow? How do we interpret it? India gets major victory at The Hague. Sentence of Kulbhushan Jadhav stayed. Pakistan embarrassed before the world community. Would I be right?
Well,
on all three counts?
It's a success. Certainly
Yes.
it is a success. But as yet there are many other hills to climb. So it's a battle won, but there's a much bigger battle still to be fought.
Okay, so India wins round one.
Round one
India
is
wins round one.
India
Yes.
wins round one is perhaps the best way to headline this
Absolutely,
afternoon's proceedings. Clearly then, the International Court of Justice, India took a risk of sorts by going to the International Court of Justice. For now, it appears it's been worth it, which is why we believe today is a good day to say that Sushma Swaraj, well done. Harish Salve and your entire legal and diplomatic team in the Narendra Modi government, well done. However, the battle is far from over to save Kulbhushan Jadhav, which is why India must not take its eye off the ball, and which is why the next few months leading to the next hearing at the ICJ in August will be extremely important. Pakistan needs to give consular access, and India needs to put pressure on Pakistan to ensure that happens. Step by step, India is moving towards trying to get Kulbhushan Jadhav back. We hope that his family's prayers are answered. For now, that's all that we have on a day when the ICJ has ruled that Kulbhushan Jadhav's sentence must be stayed. Pakistan has been hoisted at its own petard in The Hague. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.